Oh, say, should you see by the dawn's early light, voice so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That was great. Great job, guys. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, St. Francis Academy is the oldest continuously operating, predominantly African-American Catholic high school in the country. 185 years strong. Folks, my name is Dwayne Carey. I'm the president of Maryland Business for Responsive Government, MBRG. And on behalf of the MBRG membership and the board of directors, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the third annual State of Business Address with Governor Hogan. There was a lot of joking going along this morning about pulling this thing together. We had 340 people the first year we did this. We had 560 last year. We have 730 people this year. That's a heck of a crowd. I want to take care of a couple of housekeeping and kind of schedule issues. We're on a very tight schedule because, as you can imagine, the governor's schedule is unforgiving. So I'd like to ask you all to start on your salads right away and enjoy them while we're talking here. We're going to get through the salads and the entrees and get everything cleared before the speaking presentations start. So we're on a little bit of a tight squeeze. Quick reminder: those of you who have an AT&T phone, please set it to silent or turn it off. If you have a phone with any other carrier, throw it away and pick up an AT&T phone this afternoon. How's that, Dennis? We take our sponsors very seriously at MBRG. While we're on that topic of sponsors, this is always my favorite part of any event because this is the people who actually make all of this happen so that we can all participate in this democratic process. I'd like to list all of the sponsors for you so that you can acknowledge them. I'm going to do them in categories by presenting gold and silver, so please hold your applause till the end of each category. In a category of one, as we just mentioned, the presenting sponsor, AT&T. Thank you very much. AT&T's been a great partner, and this is their second year sponsoring this event, and we're very much appreciative. At the gold level, we have 4 sponsors: Avena Contracting, Merit Properties, NAOP Maryland, and Pepco Holdings. Thank you all. Our 9 silver sponsors are Davis, Agner, Rappaport, and Scowney, City Biz List, Barcoding Inc., the Howard Hughes Corporation, KCI Technologies, Katz Abosh, Liberty Tax Service, McCormick, and Rudolph's Office and Computer Supply. Our three partnering organizations for this event are the Economic Alliance of Greater Baltimore, MarylandReporter.com, and TAB, the Alternative Board. Please take a moment not only to thank them, but also please learn about their businesses and patronize them whenever you can. These organizations do not run without sponsors like that. On a personal level, I don't know if she's even made it back in here yet, but I would like to thank Cindy Scalney and all my colleagues at Impact Marketing for pulling off this event not only once, but twice in the last 6 months. Cindy, are you in here? There she is back there. Great job. Thank you very, very much. Finally, this event is not only the who's who of the business community, we also get a great turnout from elected and appointed government officials. Again, we're going to go through this somewhat categorically to try to get our arms around it, so please hold your applause till after each grouping. From the state of Maryland, and dignitaries, so for those who don't know who you are, what you look like, please stand up and give a wave as we call. For the state of Maryland, our state treasurer, Nancy Kopp, Secretary of Commerce, Mike Gill, Deputy Secretary of State, Lou Barunda, Paul Comfort, the Administrator and CEO of the Maryland Transportation Authority, Secretary of Budget and Management, David Brinkley, Secretary of Higher Education, Dr. James Fielder, also the Chancellor of the University System of Maryland, Dr. Bob Carrott, and of course our guest of honor, the man himself, Governor Larry Hogan. From the Maryland Legislature, we have Senator Steve Hershey, Delegate Kathy Afzali, Susan Krebs, Delegate Chris West, Delegates Herb McMillan, Christopher Adams, and Trent Kittleman. And I believe Mary Beth Carroza also is here. And Minority Whip Delegate Kathy Shalega. A couple of council people from Baltimore City, Yitzi Schleifer, and from Tawnytown, Donald Frazier. Four county executives from our host county, Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue, Howard County Executive Alan Kittleman, Cecil County Executive Alan McCarthy, and former Baltimore County Executive Roger Hayden. We're almost done with this long list. There's just a few more other former elected officials. Former Lieutenant Governor Mickey Steinberg, and 5 former delegates, Johnny Wood, Bill Frank, Jim Ports, Ron George, and everybody's favorite ambassador, Ellen Sauerbray. Please enjoy your meals, and we'll be back up soon. Thank you.
I'm honored today to have the opportunity to introduce Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue. Steve was elected county executive in 2014. Prior to that, he spent 8 years serving in Annapolis as a member of the House of Delegates. I'm sure that was a blast. While he was there, Steve racked up an 89% lifetime rating through MBRG for his pro-business, pro-economy, and pro-jobs voting record. He truly is a businessman, from his MBA that he earned at Harvard to becoming managing director at Alex Brown and Sons and Credit Suisse First Boston, and then founding Mid-States Management Group, which develops and operates restaurants that employ over 1,000 people in this region. That's job creation for Maryland. Serves on numerous nonprofit boards while he continues to lead Anne Arundel County to being one of the strongest counties in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a wonderful event this is. Congratulations to MBRG, 730 people. That is extraordinary. And by the way, welcome all of you to Anne Arundel County, best place to live, work, and start a business in the state of Maryland. Right, Alan? Since taking office, Governor Larry Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford have worked tirelessly to bring responsible spending, tax relief, and long-term financial stability to struggling Maryland families and businesses. Governor Hogan's commitment to restoring Maryland's economy and creating jobs is proving successful. Since January 2015, Maryland has seen nearly 100,000 new jobs created, and Governor Hogan's administration has cut tolls, reduced or eliminated innumerable fees, and returned hundreds of millions of dollars to Maryland taxpayers. Yeah, let her rip. In addition to Governor Hogan's economic agenda, he's made record investments in education, transportation, and protecting our Chesapeake Bay. And I want to say, from a personal perspective, how grateful I am to have someone in the State House who's been so good to Anne Arundel County. From much needed improvements along Maryland Route 175 in the western part of our county, to his record investment in our school system, including the new Crofton High School now underway, to funding enhanced law enforcement in high crime areas, Anne Arundel County has always had a friend in Governor Larry Hogan. Please join me in giving a warm Anne Arundel County welcome to Governor Larry Hogan.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Wow. Somebody's been drinking coffee. Thank you very, very much. I would say it looks like Maryland is open for business. What do you think? Take a look around this room. This is a heck of a crowd for MBRG. I want to thank you very much. It's really great to be here with you, and I want to thank Steve for that very kind introduction. He gave you most of my speech, talked about all the great things, so I'm going to skip ahead. But thank you for the outstanding job that you're doing as my county executive here in Anne Arundel County. He's doing a terrific job. We have a number of other great county executives here with us today, as well as some of our cabinet members and legislators and local elected officials and other distinguished guests. And I want to thank all of them for being here. But I just want to take a moment, personal privilege, to give a shout out to just one of Maryland's long-time leaders who has done so much for this organization, for our state, and for our nation for so many years. I want to give a big round of applause for my good friend, Ambassador Ellen Sauerbrey. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. And I want to thank MBRG's chairman, Scott Dorsey, who's not here. Rob Merritt, thank you for filling in for Scott. And Dwayne, thank you for the leadership that you provide for this organization. Thank you for not only inviting me again this year, but for all the great work that MBRG does to promote business and to promote economic growth in our state. I want to thank all of you for being here today, all of our sponsors, and each and one of the 735 people that are filling this room to capacity. I do remember coming to MBRG luncheons when we didn't have quite this many, when the previous governor would kind of penalize you if you showed up at a lunch like this. And now everybody can come out in public and say, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman. We create jobs, and we're damn proud of it, right? You don't have to hide anymore in the shadows. But thank you for being a part of this great organization. So I guess you know that I've been in this new job for a little over 2 years now. And it seems like it's going pretty well so far. What do you think? I don't know. But I've spent most of my life in the private sector. This is the very first elective office that I've ever held. And just like many of you, I've been in business. I started and grew several small businesses here in Maryland. I've been a long-time supporter of MBRG, and I understand the importance of the business community. So I wanted to start out today by just saying thank you. Thank you for doing business here in Maryland, and thank you for the critical role that all of you are playing in the incredible economic resurgence that we're experiencing here in Maryland. A little over 2 years ago, I stood on the steps of our historic State House in Annapolis, and I promised to put Maryland on a new path. I promised to create a more competitive and more business-friendly future for our state, to grow our private sector, put more people to work, and turn our economy around. And this doesn't usually happen, apparently, in politics. I don't know, I'm new to this, but we've been doing exactly what we said we were going to do. Can you imagine? As I was taking the oath of office, at that very moment, all of our state highway signs were being changed from one end of the state to the other to say, "Welcome to Maryland, we're open for business." I think they used to say, "What's in your wallet?" But that wasn't just a slogan that we put on our highway signs to say that "Welcome to Maryland, we're open for business." It wasn't just something that we wanted to just talk about doing. It actually defines our entire mission. It's why I ran for governor. For 2 years, our entire team has been completely focused on growing the private sector in Maryland, creating jobs, and turning our economy around. And as a result, Maryland's economy is stronger than it's been in more than a decade. Businesses are returning to and expanding in our state. People are feeling better about investing in Maryland. We had the best year for business in 15 years. We had the best year for job growth in 15 years. It looks like we had the best year for lunches at MBRG in 15 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but in a while. But we've cut our unemployment rate to 4.3%. At one point, it was up to about twice that high in the previous administration. We've gone from losing 100,000 jobs to gaining 100,000 jobs. That's quite a turnaround. And the people in this room have been a big part of that success. You are the job creators. You are the backbone of our economy. And your success has been Maryland's success. Back in 2014, I decided to run for governor because the state that I grew up in, the state that I started my businesses in, the state that I loved, was in real trouble. We were way off track. We were heading in the wrong direction. Businesses, jobs, and taxpayers were fleeing our state in record numbers. We had lost 8,000 businesses and 100,000 jobs. And our state economy ranked 49th out of 50 states. So as a lifelong Marylander who loved this state, that broke my heart. It also made me angry enough to want to do something crazy by running for governor to try to do something about it. But I ran promising that we were going to do everything in our power to turn our economy around, and we have. We have experienced one of the greatest economic turnarounds of any state in the nation. In just 2 years, Maryland's overall economic performance has grown to the top 10 states in the United States of America, from 49. Right after I was sworn in, 5 minutes later, I walked up to my office for the very first time, and I killed over 100 job-killing regulations that the previous administration was trying to push through in the closing hours of their administration. And we've killed another 100 since then. And we're going to cut a couple of hundred more So we're just getting started. The very next day, after a really good inaugural ball party that lasted until the wee hours in the morning, where I shook hands with, I think, 14,000 people, the very next morning, we submitted the very first balanced budget in more than a decade, which eliminated nearly all of the $5.1 billion structural deficit which we inherited. And we did it without raising taxes. In fact, we've now completed 3 budgets in a row with no new taxes in Maryland. In fact, believe it or not, we've actually cut taxes 3 years in a row, which is something previously, I think, unheard of and maybe even unthinkable in the state of Maryland. But we've cut taxes by more than $700 million, and again, we're just getting started. We eliminated or reduced 255 fees all across state government for $120 million. We cut tolls at every single facility in the entire state of Maryland by $270 million, the first time tolls have been cut in more than 50 years. We returned $200 million in personal income tax rebates to overtaxed Marylanders. It was the largest tax refund in the history of our state. And we put all of this money back into the pockets of hardworking Marylanders, back into small businesses all across the state, and back into our rapidly growing economy. When I ran for governor, I also promised that we were going to rebuild our state's transportation infrastructure. After 8 years of complete neglect and mismanagement, and after $1 billion had been improperly siphoned from the Transportation Trust Fund, we had crumbling roads and bridges and the worst traffic congestion in the nation. Again, we took immediate action, doing exactly what we promised to do. We're moving forward on nearly every single one of the top priority road projects in every single jurisdiction in the entire state of Maryland. We inherited 69 structurally deficient bridges, and we're fixing every single one of them. We just recently invested an additional $2 billion in new transportation projects. We now have a total of $8.6 billion in our consolidated transportation plan. Nearly 1,000 transportation projects are currently under construction all over the state. It is historic and unprecedented, and all of these efforts are helping us to experience tremendous growth in our state economy. The statistics are so good that they're almost hard to believe, but the facts are abundantly clear and indisputable. A recent study ranked Maryland as the 5th most innovative state in America. We are 3rd among all 50 states for entrepreneurial business growth. We're 3rd in the nation for research and development intensity. 2nd among all 50 states for concentration of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics employment. And 4th in the nation in the number of science and engineering degree holders. Maryland ranks 3rd among all states for the highest share of technology companies, and we are number 3 in the United States of America for the highest research and development spending per capita. We're proud that Maryland now has the 2nd lowest percentage of people living below the poverty rate in the nation, and that we have the highest median household income in the United States of America. Together with your help, we have created an exciting economic resurgence. Maryland truly is open for business. U.S. News and World Report recently ranked the best states in the nation, compiling data in 68 different categories, from education to opportunity to transportation to the economy. And I'm proud to report that Maryland beat out 42 other states, and we are now ranked the 8th best state in the United States of America. That's quite a turnaround. Together, we've been able to bring real change to a state that desperately needed it. And now 3/4 of all Marylanders approve of the job that we have been doing, but we're just getting started. There's a lot more hard work that lies ahead so that we can continue making progress for Maryland. We recently enacted our More Jobs for Marylanders Act, which provides tax incentives for the creation of thousands more jobs in areas where we need them the most. And just a few weeks ago, at our first ever sold out Maryland Business Summit, we launched a new and exciting comprehensive statewide economic development strategy called Excel Maryland, which will be focused on new collaborative strategies to further accelerate growth in some of the sectors where Maryland is already leading, including the life sciences and cybersecurity industries. We're doing everything we can to make Maryland more competitive with other states and to foster a more business-friendly and job-friendly climate in our state. As you know, I recently vetoed the legislature's ill-conceived, poorly written, complicated, and inflexible paid sick leave bill. Which, if allowed to go into law, could cost Maryland thousands of jobs and billions in economic output, with small businesses bearing the brunt of the burden. Instead of helping hardworking Marylanders, the legislature's bill instead simply places unnecessary and crippling hardships on employers, particularly small businesses. Stopping reckless, job-killing proposals and protecting taxpayers and jobs is why I'm in this job. It's why I ran for governor. And this legislative bill was not a common sense measure. It was not any kind of a bipartisan compromise. It was simply very bad anti-business, anti-jobs public policy. And it would have been incredibly irresponsible for us to allow another law on the books that would unfairly penalize our state's job creators and the men and women whom they employ. Every single decision that I make as governor is put to a simple test. I ask, will this law or action make it easier for small businesses and families to stay in and succeed in Maryland? This bill clearly did not pass that test, and vetoing it was the right course of action for our state economy, our business community, and for our Maryland workers. But we will need everyone in this room to assist us in this fight in order to stop the legislature from overriding this common sense veto. We can't do it by ourselves. We simply cannot allow them to return us back to the failed economic policies of the past. Frankly, we can't continue to make positive progress without your help. And I want to thank MBRG, along with each and every one of you here today, for being such an important part of Maryland's amazing economic resurgence. It's thanks to you that Maryland truly is open for business. Together, we've made a great deal of progress over the past 2 years, and we're not done yet. We're just getting started. And hey, look, if we can accomplish all of this over 2 years while dealing with partisanship, 2/3 of the legislature fighting against us on nearly everything, and while dealing with riots and battling aggressive and advanced cancer, just imagine how much progress we can make together over the next 6 years. I'd like to leave you with just one final thought. My 18-month battle with cancer taught me a little bit about the important things in life. And there's one thing in particular that I'd like to share with you today. I learned a pretty simple lesson that life is much too short and that we've all got to make the most out of every single day. And I truly believe that each and every one of us is given the opportunity to do something great each and every day. Over the past 2 years, together we have done many great things. And now we have the incredible opportunity to accomplish even more. And I just want to let you all know that I'm going to keep giving this job everything I've got every single day that I am given. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for granting me this incredible honor of serving as your governor. May God bless you all, and may God bless the great state of Maryland.
The governor does not like long applauses. He doesn't like that. Governor, thank you very much for your leadership. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And thanks for everything you're doing to help educate the population and all businesses and all politicians that pro-business means pro-jobs. We very much appreciate that. In your honor, we've and in honor of your good buddy, Jimmy Myrick, who passed 16 months ago, we've made a donation to an organization called Cheer for All. Jimmy was involved with, and you can see it on the screen there. It'll help them further their mission of getting these folks out doing this athletic competition. Again, thank you. See you, buddy. Thank you. Governor Hogan, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Please have a seat. So in addition to all the great things he does legislatively and in his executive capacity, he's also very good at appointing excellent people to important roles within the administration. It's my pleasure to introduce one of those, a man who was a lifelong entrepreneur and put his very well-earned retirement on hold for a few years to come help economic development in Maryland. Commerce Secretary Mike Gill.
Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate it. Nor do I need caffeine. Actually, my wife often says, "You're the last person I know needs caffeine." So I go easy on that. Thank you. Thank you for MBRG putting this together. I heard the governor say, County Executive Shue took all my remarks. Governor absolutely took all my remarks. But I'm looking over here, Dwayne, and I love the italicized letters under the big letters, holding legislators accountable for their business votes since 1985. We're not done yet, so keep working at it. And we'll get that to a really great place so that we'll have one less obstacle to deal with, to move the agenda forward. Let me just make a handful of, there's 3 or 4 things I just want to share with you, and then we'll keep rolling on. I do want to thank the Gov, even though he slipped out. I like to say he's the one who gave me the opportunity to be in this position. I've loved every minute of it, but I also got to thank my wife because she still had veto powers. And she said, let's do it. So here we are. We're in the middle of year 3 and we're rocking and rolling, and I really feel like things are in a different place. Couple thoughts. The governor said thank you. I love to start remarks by saying thank you. And the very first time I ever said that, Dwayne, to any group of people, they looked at me like, what is he thanking us for? And I said, you're customers. You know, it took me at least a day from when I first came into this position to realize, as I was trying to think about how do you do this thing? Like the Gov, I didn't spend one day in public service or elected office of any kind all my life, a business person. So I come into this position, I'm thinking about the agenda, I'm thinking about the mission, I'm thinking about what's the role of economic development, commerce. And I said, you know what, it's really simple. There's 400,000 plus businesses in Maryland who file tax returns. They have a tax ID. I'm guessing they have articles of incorporation, all the other stuff you need to officially be a business. And I said, you know what? They're all customers. And if you think through in that sense, you're a customer, you're a customer, you're a customer. Then it's how can we help you? Just like in business, we say, how can we help you? You know, when we came into to this opportunity, the other thing that quickly became clear to me is, like in any organization, you got to create a culture. And I don't know what culture existed in, you know, prior to the Hogan administration. Was it the culture that's here today? So the culture that we tried to create was a culture of yes. And I've met I think I've met every single person in this room somewhere in the last 2.5 years. Matter of fact, I said a while back that there's 6 million Marylanders, and I'm pretty sure that there's only about 150 that I haven't met. And somebody yells out, who are they? I said, they're on Smith Island. And then somebody else yelled out, well, you better get there quick because it's sinking. So I still haven't gotten to Smith Island. So anyone who's here from Smith Island, I promise I'll get down there soon. But that culture of yes really just says that when one of you might come up and say, hey, I need your help on a project, I just say yes. And you say, well, wait a minute, it might be one you can't handle. I said, maybe we can't, but we're going to try. And what I've learned about saying yes is that if you approach things in a positive manner, 8 out of 10 times, and I found this true, Ellen, 8 out of 10 times, we can get a resolution. We can get to a good place. The 9th one might take a little bit longer. The 10th one, I'll say, sorry, Chris, can't help you. But if you start from a position of yes, you put all your energies into it, and you have a great team of people and fellow agencies, because that's the other thing. We have a commerce cabinet. There's 7 agencies. It's what you might think: housing, planning, environment, transportation, Governor's Office of Minority Affairs, the environment, commerce. We work together, no silos. So when we have opportunities, we're alongside of each other. We're not, okay, well, go talk to that department called environment, and go talk to that one called transportation, and go talk to that one about housing issues. We're there together. The whole idea, go faster, go faster, go faster. A couple more thoughts just to share with you. I've said a number of times, economic development is a team sport. You know, the very first group I ever spoke to was META. It was down at the Calvert House. I'd been in the job a week or two. Pretty sure I hadn't got my first paycheck yet. Matter of fact, I was in about my 3rd month, and my wife said to me one evening, honey, you get paid for this job, don't you? I said, I do, honey, I do. And I have 5 personal days. I have 14 sick days. I said, there's some good benefits here. But when I spoke in front of this group at META, and I looked out at this group, and I was walking up on the stage, and Pam Ruff, that a number of you know, I'm walking by a banner that looks like that. It says MEDA on it. And I leaned over to Pam and I said, what's MEDA stand for? So I was really getting into it. And I thought, this is a team sport. I mean, we're commerce. We have regional reps. We have the finance programs. We got great leadership in the military and federal government affairs. We've got Cigna Pringle and the international team. We got a great team. Well, we're no better than the effectiveness of the 24 jurisdictions and the economic development team that you all have. So we work together. It's a team sport. And I say it's not badminton. It's one where you got to engage. You've got to get on the playing field and make things happen. So we haven't lost sight of that for a second. Last couple things. Start thinking about those 24 jurisdictions. Start thinking about the theme of One Maryland. One Maryland. Start thinking about more jobs for Marylanders, the bill that the governor referred to, that we're going to make a lot of great progress with. And you know what? We have 24 jurisdictions, and they're not all alike. And it's not good enough for Steve's team in Anne Arundel County to knock the cover off the ball, and for Alan's team in Howard County. Where's Alan? Is Alan still? Alan's team in Howard County and Alan McCarthy, and they're doing a fantastic job up in Cecil County. That's all great, terrific. But how about Somerset? How about Caroline? How about Allegheny? How about Washington? How about St. Mary's? How about Dorchester, Wacomico? Everybody's got to play. And I started thinking about the fact that we have 25-man rosters in baseball. Think about it. And a number of you, most of you who are Oriole fans, you can tell me who the 5 or 6 stars are. And then all of a sudden it gets fuzzy, doesn't it? But you know, you can't play in the World Series in October if you don't have 25 players that all are playing to their potential. Think about it. Maybe some of our larger counties aren't playing to their potential. And Somerset and Caroline are doing the best they can do. That's the kind of players I like. The ones who are playing to their potential. So when I think of One Maryland, I think of 24 jurisdictions playing to whatever their God-given potential is. And that's really how you become great and win championships. Last thing, we're always trying to figure out how do we take it up one more notch in commerce that can reflect upon everything we're trying to do. You know, so an expression that we use a lot, think bigger, go faster. Think bigger, go faster. And a goal that I had from the beginning, that we had from the beginning, is that, you know, one day we'll all go somewhere and there'll be all these economic development folks gathered and a whole bunch of governors, and they say, what happened in Maryland? They're number one. But again, thank you for having me. It's great to work for Governor Hogan, and you can start the chant anytime. 6 more years, 6 more years. See ya.
Thank you, Mike. We love your culture of yes. And Mike, can I borrow $20? Thank you. Okay, we're just about done. I'm going to give you a choice. We can go through 37 PowerPoint slides about MBRG, or you can just give me 5 minutes and let me just talk about a couple things with roll call. The latter, probably, right? Actually, if you can put up the slide, I do want to show the slide on the distribution. So let me just talk for a second about what we've heard a lot about MBRG doing good work, but we haven't really said exactly what that is. I just ask everybody to grab, there's a copy of roll call on your chair. Take a look at it when you get home. It's actually, it looks very heavy. There are very complicated tables in there, and what they do is represent the incredible amount of work that happens every year vetting the thousands of bills put forth by the legislature on how it's going to affect the business community and therefore job creation in the state. If everyone in this room will simply do one thing and go to your computer, go to the internet when you get back to your office and look up who your representatives are, who are your delegates, who's your senator, and then check out what their score is. Everybody gets rated from 0 to 100% based on their actual scores. It's not subjective. It's did they vote thumbs up or did they vote thumbs down on important bills to the business community. If you simply do that and then have conversations with your representatives when you see them, when they invite you to their $500 fundraiser, and you say, well, gosh, delegate, it's like you got a 32% voting for business. Well, I don't think I can write you a check. When you start doing that, it is amazing what will actually happen with the continuing change in making Maryland a pro-business state. I want to thank my friends at Data Story who helped us with a GIS depiction database of all the roll call votes. I'm not going to go through this now, but if you go to our website, mbrg.org, you can see the latest issue of roll call online in PDF form. You can also see the distribution. I'll just give you a hint. Red's not good. Those are the percentiles of how the legislators voted relative to the other legislators in the body. And so both the Senate and the House are plotted, and this is just going to loop here for you. You can zoom into this. Data Story has a great resource here for us. You can zoom in, you can look at every one of the legislators in your district, see how they voted, and see what's contributing to these scores that they're getting. Let me just wrap up with this. If you're an employer, if you're a business owner, if you care about employment in the state, if you're nearing retirement and you're ready to sell your Ocean City condo and buy one in Bethany because it's in Delaware and not Maryland, you're exactly the people, everybody in this room, that we want to be involved in MBRG to help contribute to the education of these legislators on what their votes mean on these bills. Every business organization in the state went to Annapolis and said, gosh, guys, are you kidding me? We cannot have this paid leave bill. Here's what's going to happen. And they passed it anyway. And to the governor's point, they have all the votes to override his veto. So I'll ask you again, take a look at where your legislators are, how they've been voting, communicate with them why you have concerns about what they're going to do. And then, at the end of the day, join MBRG, get on board with us. There's a membership application in the back of Roll Call. There's a membership application at mbrg.org. And unless somebody wants to hear 36 more slides, that's it. Thank you very much for your time.